broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another NXT ABTV after show right here on AfterBuzzTV.com. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm Kathy Kelly. Joining me, as always, Mark Donica.
Wait for the drop. Hi, Kathy Kelly. This is a very exciting day. I'm Mark Donica. Follow me on Twitter at SoapboxMark, and this is the Hobo.
We've got the energy up.
I'm so excited.
On Twitter at your Hobo. Video doing pretty well. Go check it out.
Yes,
really
check it out. And I'm kind of bummed though because you guys didn't bring your headbands today.
I don't have a headband.
Clearly you didn't either.
What? You are the female of the broadcast. Why don't you have a headband?
I do. It's just the headset.
Then we all brought it.
You needed to do a side scrunchie.
I know, but we are very, very excited today because we have a special interview lined up for later in the show. Bayley is calling in as our guest, and we are going to ask her all the questions. All the questions. Thank you guys for tweeting us in the last week or so since we announced that she was our guest this week. Just your questions, comments, promoting the show. It's been really awesome to have your feedback. So.
Using the hashtag ABTV NXT, of course.
Yes, or NX Team, which we've gotten going. But we are 1 week away from the next Takeover special, and this show was setting up for it. We were worried because there are some injuries now, but they did explain some of those in this episode.
Poorly edited in.
Well, no, they did what they had to do.
Yes, but there's a better way to do it, and we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah.
It was, we will.
So let's start off this show. We saw the Zayn fallout from Raw last week. He accepted John Cena's open challenge for the U.S. title and unfortunately hurt his shoulder. I don't know what happened. He said it popped in, popped back out is what it felt like.
From that description alone, it sounded like he had a mild separation of the shoulder just based on where he was grabbing, and I know that if the motion that he was going, you can actually throw your collarbone out going that way, and instead it went back in. I think it was a minor separation of the collarbone. Yeah. So barring MRI results, that's probably what it was. Because if it was a tear, there's nothing to go back in. You just tore your rotator cuff. But for something to go back in, something had to pop out. And that was either his entire shoulder or he separated his shoulder, which in case would be the collarbone.
Ouch.
Any of them suck.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like is he going to compete next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
They said unequivocally.
They said he is, which
they edited into
surprising.
the segment at the end,
yeah.
which we'll talk about.
Yeah. So the first match of the night, we have Baron Corbin versus Solomon Crowe. There were a lot of chants. I couldn't tell what some of them were, whether it was Corbin or boring.
It was Corbin.
Corbin's gonna bore you.
Okay.
Corbin's gonna bore you.
It started out with just the Corbin,
yeah.
and then it changed to Corbin's gonna bore you.
So Corbin ends up doing the end of days to Solomon Crowe after they did have a little bit of back and forth. Baron ends up winning, and Rhino comes out on the mic, asks about their takeover match. Baron then takes the first swing and they go at it. The entire locker room comes out, and then Rhino ends up goring everybody.
Just to him.
Yeah. Then the rest of them went, I don't want any part of this. Solomon Crowe, super strong, going for blood. Like a lot of those shots looked like they were attempting to yield some teeth from that mine of mouth.
Yeah, right when he came back and just hit him with a straight punch after after Corbin was like really putting the beating on him, I was just ow.
Yeah.
Ow!
This is one of the more interesting Baron Corbin matches, though, because it didn't end in 30 seconds or 18 seconds or whatever.
Now we're starting to get into, he doesn't have to worry about losing anymore because he's already lost. And now is when it can get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's starting
That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
And he hit the end of days off a counter, which was more interesting.
It
than
looked
the
really
usual
cool, yeah.
setup. Yeah.
And Solomon Crowe had new music this week. And it doesn't fit him. And it's not just because I like the original music so much, but they picked something that was at like half the time, so it didn't seem as jazzed when he was getting into the ring and he was beating on the side screen. If they had something that had the same BPM, maybe it could have been a little bit more engaging.
Yeah.
And they were on commentary. They were pushing him as a face. You know, this guy stands up, you know, for the little guy, the outcast, the freak, whatnot. And I just don't think that's really Solomon Crowe, or at least the Solomon Crowe that they were projecting.
So do you think that there's a disconnect now? Because he used to be this cyber guy that was able to take over the broadcast and whatever else, and now it's changed. But that's something that, like, when we see a change, it's usually due to something not working out, and I thought that was working.
It was cool.
It was different.
Yeah.
I think he was sort of like, in this case, in this instance, the right guy for the job. So they tried to tweak him to fit the situation. They tried to tweak him a little bit to fit the situation better, and as a result, we kind of got... And this isn't the only time that this happened tonight. There was somebody else who was shoehorned into a match later on, and it just didn't feel natural at all.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys looking forward to Rhino versus Corbin at Takeover? They are the two unstoppable guys.
I'm not, actually.
Really?
I'm not. I'm looking more forward to Rhino. Well, first of all, we saw the match already.
Okay, now, without that, would you be? Because nobody else who's not seen them live
From San Jose
knows what that match is.
No, because we saw this match a couple of months ago, and it was Baron Corbin versus Bull Dempsey, and it was supposed to be a no disqualification match that had a chair in it. That was supposed to be a be-all, end-all, drag-out, knock-him-out fight, and that had and I hate saying this, that had a better build than this, and this feels like Rhino is taking Bull's place, and they're just trying to sell that now harder because it's somebody that everybody knows and loves.
I think Rhino's got a better following than Bull did.
So they're using Rhino to put Corbin in a better position for the fans to not like him.
Right.
And
it's working. It is working.
But we kind of saw that.
It was just the other way around. When it was Bull and Corbin, Corbin was the face, Bull was the heel. Now it's Rhino and Corbin, Corbin's the heel, Rhino's the face.
I think the difference this time is that the fans are clearly behind one of the two guys competing, and that's everyone is behind Rhino, it seems like.
Yeah.
So, before we get into the next segment, I just want to shout out everyone who's given us 5 stars on iTunes. We love you guys so much. Jesse Marks, TFC Godfather, and KPNY Sports. Thank you guys so much for your reviews. That's what helps us grow here, keeps the show getting bigger. Please go to iTunes, type in AfterBuzz NXT, rate our show, give us 5 stars. We love you forever. Be your best friend. And, yeah, tell a friend too, because that's what helps us get these great interviews for you guys, which we're doing later in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So,
glowing.
Well, now that we're done, let's just wait. Is Finn calling in?
There was an interview with Balor, and I think. Was Byron doing these interviews? I couldn't really tell.
Each of them did, or 3 different people did each different interview. Byron did this one, Greg did the one with Breeze, and
Which was
Graves did the last one.
Very interesting because you don't even see their faces, so why have a different person? Why not even just use a producer?
The guys were all in the background. Like, they're on the same background. It's like they were in a line saying, okay, it's your turn now. Yep. Okay, get up and leave.
Although you could say they scheduled them in different parts of the day so they didn't have to run into each other, so they had to be civil, you know. You can work a little magic on that.
These style interviews were a little bit weird.
Yeah, well, it was the same question.
Yeah.
That's even weirder, is that it was the same question asked by
different people. Yeah. So whoever was interviewing said, who would you rather face if you win, Owens or Zayn? And Finn said, if I win, and then talks about the triple threat match.
Triple threat.
And he says he didn't walk out NXT champ last time he faced Owens, but whoever wins, they can be sure that the demon of Finn Balor won't be far behind.
Ominous.
It is very ominous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't really lend to what he's going to do, but still, the demon is quite a compelling force.
Yep.
Triple H said that Finn would be debuting a new look at NXT Philly.
What?
So,
We'll look forward to that.
Philly.
That's this weekend.
He looks great in a suit. He looks great not in a suit. So what is this?
Excuse me, ma'am?
What?
No, that's a different kind
No,
of
new look
suit.
for the demon.
That's a birthday suit.
It's going to do a new makeup pattern.
Oh. Okay.
Seemingly.
Cool. I'm done.
Yeah.
So next up we have,
Yeah.
interview with Tyler Breeze. And he says he plans to bring the NXT title back to Cuteville, where it belongs.
But both of them were like, who I face doesn't matter. I'm
Yes.
just going to tear all the way through
Yeah.
them. Which is what made the Hideo interview later in the show that much more compelling.
I got a very interesting tweet this week. Forgive me, I forget who it's from, but they were asking whether we think that Tyler Breeze would be a compelling or a... do we believe him as a potential NXT champion? Because we have these people who are powerhouses who did wrestle the indies. We have Kevin Owens, who's just a force to be reckoned with. We have Finn Balor. We have Sami Zayn. And then you have Tyler Breeze, who is a great wrestler, but is he serious? Like, can he be taken seriously?
If Bo Dallas was champion for as long as he was, I don't think there's any problem with Tyler Breeze being champion.
I mean, Tyler Breeze is all about... Imagine the ways that he can accessorize with the NXT Championship. If he comes out with an NXT Championship with a
Bedazzle
different...
it.
Not just bedazzle it, but if it comes out with not just the leather, but a different fabric every week, you know? Like he's got like a purple zebra accent to match his outfit. Like where then it becomes just a thing, which can make whoever's like, hey, it means more than that. Then
it's a part of him.
Yeah,
That he's created and personalized in a special way.
that shows him. That shows that Breeze is that type of a person and goes to any length to be like, no, I'm perfect. I match everything. And then whoever is up and coming to take him down is that passionate about. It's not just a belt; it's a championship.
Yes.
Like there are a lot of possibilities.
I like that a lot. That's pretty good.
Next up, we have Sasha versus old black shorts.
As Casey Cassidy.
Yes, I know.
Let's go.
But that
Black
was
shorts.
the chant that they were doing in the NXT arena.
Let's go black shorts.
Sasha comes out on the mic and she says, I made you, Becky, at TakeOver. I'm going to show everyone why I'm the boss. Don't believe me, just watch. She does the bank statement to Casey Cassidy, and she taps out. Sasha ends up winning. But Casey looked pretty strong in her debut.
Cassidy,
Yeah,
she gave everything she had to try and win this match. Multiple roll-ups and pins. Definitely bringing it to the champ. Very strong strikes. She wanted this. She knew this was a statement.
I think this is the reason why NXT needs to hire women that have experience wrestling. Like, Casey is the proof of that. And her debut, she was literally just signed that week. And
was she one of the new ones?
she's one of the new ones, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so just signing that week and being able to go right into a match, into TV tapings, is, I think, something that we all appreciate.
And looks so solid.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I thought this was her debut, but I wasn't entirely sure. She had one of the cleanest television debuts I think I've ever seen.
More
that
so
was
than
really clean.
than people that have trained down there for a couple years and then making their TV debut.
Exactly. I think with her experience, this was just another day at the office, so to speak. You know, after a while, it's just, now it's another TV taping. Let's get out there and give it all we got.
But she was very confident as well, and that's not something that a lot of people can say.
Confidence comes with experience.
She had a lot of that. She looked good, and she looked good.
She looked good.
Straight.
And she looked good.
So
not even you were fully committed to that one. I did that. I don't know.
I just went along with it.
backstage, Devin interviews Charlotte and Bayley. Devin asks about what Dana Brooke said about Charlotte last week, and Charlotte just, brushes it under the rug. She's just jealous. Yeah.
I was really hoping. She said one word, and I was really hoping it was like, especially. Jealous. Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. Go that way.
She just said, Dana Brooke's promo was whack. Ooh. I shouldn't have said that. But anyways, Bayley then starts talking about Emma and how Emma took her headbands and her shirt. And then Charlotte says they have one word for them, takeover. Charlotte and Bayley want to face Dana and Emma.
I really like this team. They're sweet and salty. They go really well together.
It really looked like Charlotte was about to break when Bayley was like, woo!
Don't do that.
I think that's why they cut so.
It's just great though, because
like a look cut.
But that's Charlotte showing personality. It's not necessarily breaking from character. It's just her being like, Bayley, I like you, but that's my thing.
Charlotte tries to be the consummate champion. She's like the pinnacle. That's how she sees herself. Mm-hmm. And then when somebody does something silly, she's like, stop being silly. She's the straight man. It's perfect.
Yeah. We see another contract signing from, just pictures of it, of one of the new 11 talent that they have brought onto NXT recently.
Still don't know his name.
Don't know his name. But I kind of like that. Even with Casey, they didn't say a name. They didn't give her name because I don't think that they're ready to debut them as talent right yet. They just want us to get excited for these new people coming.
Yeah, I can see that.
I suppose. I don't know.
But this is so cinematic. They added in him running into Crowe in the back. They used to work together a lot, right?
I would imagine, yeah. They're kind of, whatever his name is from the Atlanta area, so central and then eastern, and Crowe's from east to mid and then some west.
Yeah. I think these, even though we aren't getting a name yet, they show that the brand, WWE, really respects these talent that is coming in, too.
That is how it seems, which is, you're right, far and away different from what they usually do. Sort of nothing exists outside of what we create. Now they're actually accepting that which exists in the world.
And fans appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the reality of it. Why? Oh, so you just pick this guy off the street and he's that good? No, they're going to do research and they're going to find that. Wikipedia is a thing. So it makes all of the sense in order to do that.
Wikipedia is a thing.
It's
if it's on the internet, it's true.
They need to make their own fact sheet website that logs all of their information. So
WYKAApedia, Wikipedia.
WWEpedia. WWEKIA, Wikia.
Wikipedia. We'll Wikipedia. What?
I think we're speaking Japanese now. We're so sorry for offending.
So kawaii.
No.
Nope. Next up, we have two very kawaii girls. That means cute.
Oh!
Yeah. Carmella and Alexa Bliss, and during this match, Blake and Murphy come out. Alexa gets on the top rope for the Sparkle Splash, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it's always cool to
see a girl get on the top rope. Then she ends up winning. Blurfy get in the ring, and a no means no chant erupts.
No.
Carmella, or they call Cass and Enzo garbage and kind of tell Carmella that she shouldn't be hanging out with them again. Carmella then says her boys will be tag team champs at TakeOver. Capiche?
This whole thing worked really well.
Yeah.
Carmella, now the audience can totally get behind her because she's in her boy's corner 100%.
She is so confident. I am impressed with how confident she is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes across real strong.
But for knowing that that's not how she is, or not saying that she's not confident in real life, but knowing that that's a complete character and being so confident with it, I think is really cool.
It's challenging. You definitely have to be a special kind of individual to compartmentalize in that particular way. But she handles it really well.
Like, what?
I don't know what you're talking about. that was for the home audience.
But what do you guys think of this match?
It's good.
Alexa was not her best self during this match, but I actually think it worked to the benefit of the match as a whole, as Alexa basically turned heel, which allowed Carmella to look better and the audience to get behind her better, so that when Alexa sided with Blake and Murphy, the audience could kind of go, well, I don't like her now.
Yeah.
Not only is she not as good as she was, she's also teaming with the other side.
But do we not like Alexa Bliss? I
don't know.
I feel like her whole message is positivity and being a role model for young girls. So if she turns heel, is that still able to be conveyed?
Yeah, the chat's talking all about it. They need to clarify what's happening between Alexa and Bam.
And I think that they will in the coming weeks, but it's just a little bit confusing right now.
Agreed.
It's a muddled message.
I like where this is going. I do.
Yeah, Takeover. Like, I don't wonder if this is going to be it. What's going to happen after this?
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. We get the last of the triple threat interviews with Hideo, and he says if he beats Finn and Breeze, he wants to face Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens is a bad person.
Yeah, that's the only actual answer that we've received from it, which makes me think that they're really pushing for Itami to win and chase, because he's like, you know what, it doesn't matter who I face. Like that's.
But isn't
really,
he injured now?
That hasn't been confirmed yet.
The subject.
It has not been confirmed yet.
Because I think that they're hoping in a week he'll be fine.
Just glue it back together. We need him, damn it.
They might do something on the show where he gets attacked or something. Who knows?
Or very quickly into the match, he just gets injured and is out the rest of it.
I wouldn't even put him in the ring.
Really?
No. If it's a 6 to 8 month recovery period, he can't even be in the ring.
It's a liability.
It's got to be something like we saw with Cass and Enzo getting beaten up in the back, where they were already beaten up, and you saw kind of like the end of it.
Yeah.
Like you could also have him just on the ground, holding his arm and not knowing who did it, so that when he comes back, you can leave it open to be whoever the hell you want.
Right.
And then you can have them feud, and then he gets back in the title picture. If that's the case, we don't know yet.
It's just kind of unfortunate, because I liked Itami's answer to this question in this promo, because we were able to see over the WrestleMania video that the package that they created for him, that he had his kids there, and that he too is a father. So you can sort of have this dynamic.
Be empathetic towards him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have one father who's setting an example for his kids by being the absolute best athlete that he can be, while also following the rules. And then you have Kevin Owens, who is a good father, but is a terrible human being.
Terrible role model.
Right.
Yeah.
He was apparently Hideo was pulled from the Japan tour over the summer, which is why they're making such big announcements that Chris Jericho is going to fight Finn Balor for the first time overseas in Japan.
Chris Jericho, who was just in studio last week.
Yeah,
what?
just missed us. Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm not bitter. Thing you're spinning on
I
me.
still.
You're welcome.
Gross.
You know what?
Yeah.
I was like, ugh.
Could have put it in my hair.
Like clams?
Gel.
His Comedy Central co-star
Nick
is
Mundy.
a huge fan. Yeah, Nick Mundy is a huge fan of NXT.
He is.
So we're going to try to get him in studio as well.
Are we now?
We are.
We are
Yeah.
now.
Good. It's great.
Next
Fantastic.
up, we have a backstage interview. Devin talks to Emma and Dana Brooke.
As much as she can.
Dana says she's not jealous of Charlotte. She's actually doing her a favor by letting her know that she will be passed by. And Emma then says that they accept the match. And Dana and Emma leave. And Dana comes back and pats Devin on the head.
Again.
The thing that I didn't like, surprise, something we didn't like about Dana Brooke promo. She said all of her stuff, and that was fine. And Emma said all of her stuff, and that was fine. But when Emma had to come back and say, that means we accept, that doesn't look good, you know? If another person is like, oh, that didn't make sense. If you didn't understand, that means we accept. Which it could have been in character, it could have been on the thing, they could have re-recorded, like so many different things that could have been avoided for that to make air, you know? And the fact that they left it in,
well, I think
is interesting.
Emma also needed something to say. Like,
to stop.
Yeah. She needed to chime in as well, so it does make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not.
Could it have been better? Yes. Does it still get the message across that they're going to accept the match at TakeOver? Yes.
But I don't know as it gets them any particular heat. You know, it's sort of like this lackluster acceptance speech. It's not saying, yeah, we're going to put them in their place. Dana Brooke could have said, Charlotte is the best women's athlete down there, and if I want to be the greatest athlete, I have to beat the greatest athlete. You know, it's...
But then isn't that more of a face thing?
No.
For saying that?
No.
It borrows from Ric Flair's philosophy of to be the man, you've got to beat the man, which she could totally pull on her. It's like, I'm using your dad's stuff against you. I'm a bitch. And it could have been a little bit stronger of a heel thing.
Right. You could have done it a little differently. It's just... For the other team's promo being so likable, this one wasn't equally as dislikable.
I personally favor the delusional heel, where they're saying, like, oh yeah, Charlotte, she has the genes, she was born to do this, but I'm better. And clearly, like, you've had less training, so you're not, like, you know, then the fans are like, no, you're not.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard.
The fans can hate you.
I think there's a lot of that, though. So if you make it a little different, it'll have a bigger impact.
Fair enough. Next up, we have Rose and Breeze versus Hideo and Finn Balor.
Was this the one you were talking about?
Yep.
Where, Rose seemed a little out of place.
Adam Rose!
But
he did seem out of place, but I thought it was a great match.
It was. Last week he was a part of the two matches between everybody, so that's where I think it makes sense.
I also really liked Rose and Breeze together. They had a fun chemistry.
Honestly, yeah, you could really, and they were pushing that on commentary, saying, these guys, they must party together all the time, you know, they have the same circles, and that sort of makes sense, but then, I don't know, we saw a Leo Kruger-styled Adam Rose, basically.
Yeah, I missed the faff.
Yeah.
I missed the fun stuff.
Missed the Rosebuds.
Yeah, that was weird, too. It's just like, and he was kind of off time a little bit.
Yeah, I don't...
Yeah.
No.
Did Breeze actually trip on the rope, or was he got in the ring and then fell and then ran out?
No, he ran.
Okay. I was like, was that intentional? I couldn't really tell. I watched it a couple times just so I could see. But yeah, Breeze and Finn, Byron ends up saying it's like a sundae with double fudge on top. Did you hear that quote?
No.
I loved it. I was like, what? Okay, Byron. Finn then gets on the top rope, but there's clearly some tension between him and Hideo. Hideo ends up tagging himself in.
Well, Finn tagged himself in first.
Finn tagged himself in. Well, he can do no wrong. But then Breeze ends up rolling up Hideo Itami, and the tension just gets even greater. Breeze then, after the match, just pummels into Hideo and Finn as they're bickering, and then ends up doing the supermodel kick to Adam Rose.
He looks really strong. He looks like he knows when to assert himself and when to run away, so that he always winds up on top, because he's clearly on top in this match.
And this is what I was saying, is can we take him seriously? I think that this match especially proved, coming out on top of the four of those guys, that he knows what he's doing and he can be taken seriously as a champ.
He's wrestling that smart style. He asserts himself when he needs to, but always protects himself. It's smart, and it's not something that people want to see. It's like Mayweather. Stop running away. He wins matches, but he keeps on running.
Yeah.
Definitely. So Zayn addresses his shoulder injury again. This is in back. He talks about how it popped in, popped out, tweaked his shoulder. He's getting it looked at. And we kind of, this is where we're left wondering, can he wrestle at TakeOver next week? But he comes to the ring, and Kevin Owens comes out as well. he addresses Kevin and says, is this personal because your son would rather wear a Sami Zayn shirt than a Kevin Owens shirt?
Audible like, this is where it's like, okay, this is really soap opera for men, or for a sports audience. This is clearly one of those moments.
Is this personal because your son's a redhead?
But how's your wife doing? How's she doing? No,
tell her I said hi.
And then it's a double flip. Jeez.
When you passed out because you were so drunk at your wedding reception.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Family show, ma'am.
What?
Let's address. We talked about it earlier in the show. Chat's been talking about it all night. The awkward, weird voiceover that they gave Sami Zayn about, like, I know it. The whole microphone promo was like this. It was up close, and then as with all of the weird VO that they do, excuse me, it was like, I know that I fought Justin. He's in the closet with his iPhone recording.
Chat roll called it his inside voice.
Which is like, he's live on tour. You give him a mic in the middle of the ring, and you record it, and then you can edit it down to sound like it's in a small room.
Kevin Owens, I'm coming for you.
Kevin Owens, I know I hurt myself, but damn it, I'm gonna beat you up. And it was made weirder by the fact that they just left it on a shot of Kevin not doing anything.
And all you see is Sammy's arm with the microphone moving.
Barely.
That's all you see.
If all they needed to do, if they had all this footage, they could find an over-the-shoulder shot where Sami is saying something, where it looks like he's actively talking. Mm-hmm. And they do it in movies all the time. It looks weird, but you might be like, oh, that doesn't seem as weird. But they seem to have a problem with recording audio on the road, and I hope it's something that they fix soon.
It's like
garbage anime dubbing.
Kevin Owens, I'm going to...
No, it's like, I'm going to beat you up, so you can insert the name over. It's like,
So Kevin walks up the ramp, has his back towards Sami Zayn, and says he knows when the injury was inflicted, who inflicted it, what it is. He's the one that did it last time they fought, and at Takeover he will do it again, but this time Sami Zayn is not coming back.
Okay, so as weird as the first part being shoehorned, it was weirder how it came full circle.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I didn't plan for that. Whoa.
The great thing about it was the whole thing was face to face. We're gonna talk to each other. He leaves and puts his back to him and says all of it without looking at him.
That
which makes
camera angle too.
Yeah, where he was just kind of looking down and he's like, just over the That's even more like,
that's
next
so
week
real.
On Days of our NXT. Like, it's so.
But that's how, I mean, like, if you ever did fight with your friends, that's how you would, like, you don't necessarily look them in the eye the entire time.
But
unless you don't have anything to hide.
If you really hate them, you do. But I don't.
But you think that Kevin Owens still cares about him, and that's why you can't look him in the face?
It's like when you kill your dog, you can't look at it, you know? You gotta turn your head.
Wait. What?
I've had a messed up life, Kathy.
He has. He watched All the Other too many times and thought it was a documentary.
I really don't want to talk about killing puppies on the show. So
I'm talking about old dogs. Old dogs. Like when they're sick and you have to euthanize them.
You don't want rabies? Whatever. What the hell are we talking about?
Hydrophobia. Kathy's
with that,
speaking of
I think we should talk about Takeover Unstoppable. What are your thoughts? Are you excited? It's a week away, right after a WWE pay-per-view.
There's so much up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
It's
still in the air.
It's kind of almost nerve-wracking.
Yeah. But that's great when it's unpredictable. It's a scary kind of unpredictable.
Right, and it's sort of exciting for that. I mean, the matches are cool, but then the matches that there are may not be entirely what we expect and anticipate, so there may be last-minute changes we aren't aware of.
Thus far, I think every NXT special has delivered. There hasn't. They're very solid and consistent. Main roster, you can't always say the same thing, but I feel like NXT, you know, we're always really excited for them. They always have a great show. It's always a solid 2 hours, so it will definitely be interesting to see if they can pull it together for this one.
I agree. I think it was a weird choice to put the Charlotte and Dana and Emma and Bayley into one match, But, I mean,
they want to use them. I think you have to have Charlotte, especially.
Matches.
No, you got to keep the card smaller.
Yeah, and then there's that. So I understand why, from a logistical standpoint, but from a story perspective, it was Dana going, Charlotte thinks she's special and she's not, and now they have a match. And it was all in the back. We didn't see anything out in front of the audience. It seemed like it was something that, well, we want to put a tag match just so that we can have a tag match. And
I mean, dude, we're going to get 2 women's matches.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's
great.
Spectacular, superior. Actually, I just had a thought just now. Do you think that it was planned on purpose that the Takeover followed a pay-per-view instead of the other way around?
It's still... here's the thing, is it's coming after pay-per-view, but then there's another pay-per-view in like 2 weeks.
Right, but before there was all this speculation that main roster talent was upset about how the Takeover specials were received.
Why?
And how they would have to, because they would have to live up to the expectation that the NXT Takeover specials did. So when Sunday would come and it would be an okay show, everybody would be like, NXT is so much better.
Right.
Sort of a thing. So now they're getting ahead of the game.
So I'm wondering if that was on purpose or if this whole thing is just me overthinking things, which wouldn't be the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you guys have any predictions for the special?
Owens, Breeze, Sasha, The Shore, which I guess is what everybody's calling Enzo and Cass.
The Shore?
The Shore.
Like Jersey Shore.
They're not from Jersey, no, they're from Long Island.
Long Island Shore.
Sure.
Are they going to team up
the
with
Shore.
Long Island SZ?
That would be great. I would love that.
Woo.
Give it like
I would love him to come down to NXT. I think he would be one of those great talents that's able to come down from the main roster just for one taping or whatever it is.
I would love for him to pull the Tyson Kid and be down there and really just.
I mean, ultimately that would be great.
Resident main roster talent on NXT. That would be pretty great.
Yeah.
I think he could, and he's got the personality for it. Yeah,
easily. I think the fans would love him as well.
I agree. The fans do love him. That's the thing, especially in that building. It's all of this.
But people that appreciate him are, those. So we have a very special caller on the line. We are going to be interviewing Bayley right now. Awesome. Hi. Bayley. So there are actually 3 of us on the show right now. It's myself, Mark.
Hello.
And True Hobo.
Hello.
Hi, Mark.
So
what was the last one?
Hobo. He's a wrestler down at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've wrestled there before.
He's great. So thank you so much for joining us first off. I mean, we've heard so much about, giving divas a chance and giving women a chance. And we really appreciate what you're doing down at NXT. We think you're a great talent. But one of the things that we've heard is that you guys are trained just like any other wrestler. It's not you're being trained like female wrestlers. So how do you think that you've contributed to that, and how Sarah Del Rey has kind of changed the women's division down there?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how it was before I got here, because as soon as I was here, Sarah was already training at the time. So I'm not really sure what it was like before, but I've trained with men before, and training with men before I got here, and now training with Sarah. There is like I would say it's not, I don't know how to explain it. Sarah, she understands the women's side of you too. So, if you're having like a tough day, or there's certain things that we are a little bit different than men. But even when it comes to training, she does let us do a little bit more than I guess Divas have in the past, just because she does have a trust with us, and with all I guess the success that NXT Divas have been having, we kind of keep gaining more and more trust. So in training, I guess it transitions into training as well as when we have our matches. So I can't really compare it to what it was before, but I mean, it's been amazing. It's always been kind of a dream to train with Sarah Del Rey, because even before I got here and before Sarah was the trainer, I remember emailing her and just being wanting to move actually to Philly and wanting to move to wherever she was just to kind of
Wow.
train under her wing and learn from her. So it's really cool that actually now I do.
That's incredible.
That's really cool. You started your career, like you mentioned, you wrestled for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and Shimmer. With Shimmer, how did working on an all-women's wrestling show change your style, if at all?
It was amazing. It was so much cooler than I thought it would be. It was, I guess it's more competitive because when there's an all-women's show, everybody wants to have the best match there, but we're all women. So like normally when you're on a wrestling show, you're one Divas match or one women's match, one or two or whatever. So it's kind of like you're always going to be different. You're always going to stand out because there's just one match. But since Shimmer is all women, they're all so talented and amazing, and they've been doing it for years. And the fact that these fans come from all over the world just to watch this group of women within time.
Are you still there?
Hang on, I'm sorry. I think our signal got dropped. So let me call you guys right back.
Okay, thanks.
So far, it's super interesting. If you're following along live on the live chat, send us your questions. We'll try to get some in. We do have limited time with Bayley, but we will try.
Yeah.
It's always hard when you're on the road.
Yeah.
You know, you never know what your connection's going to be like.
Something that we didn't really mention earlier, but they are on the road in Philly right now. They have 2 shows that they're doing. I thought it was really cool what she said about Sarah Del Rey.
It's weird. It's a lifelong dream come true at the highest possible level.
Seriously.
I know.
Very cool.
Yeah, and what they have been doing at the women's division down there, I think, it speaks volumes. Everyone's taking note, for sure.
It's changing much better.
So it looks like we got the call back. Hello?
Hey, it's Joe again. Okay, I'm going to bring Bayley back in.
Okay.
Sorry about
No
that.
worries.
Thanks, Joe. No worries.
Bayley?
Yes.
Bayley, you're back on with the good folks at AfterBuzz. You gotta love modern technology.
Sorry about that.
No worries. We were just going to jump right back in because we know that you have limited time because you're down in Philly right now. But
Yeah.
okay.
Cool.
Mark?
Shimmer, so it's really cool just to be around all the women with so much experience and got to work with people I never thought I would. It really made me raise my game because I remember I had a match with Ray and Leon from Japan. So they didn't speak any English and their style's so different, and it just really hit me like I need to step outside my comfort zone from what I'm used to, and I was training so much back home with the same promotion, and it just really made me think that there's so much more I need to do to get where I want to be, and that's kind of, in Shimmer, I realized that I need to do 1,000,000 times more than what I was doing. So it kind of helped me branch out more. It definitely got me noticed more. And I think it may have a good reason with why I'm here now as well.
Sounds like you've had a really amazing career already, but I want to focus on what got you started. How did you end up where you are today?
I guess, I started watching wrestling when I was maybe 9 or 10, and it kind of just started there. The first, I'm sure everybody's heard it, I saw Macho Man for the first time ever. He was literally the first person I ever seen in wrestling. And I remember just seeing him and with all his colors and his tassels and everything, the music and the way they make him look on TV and all the people just loving him. And it was amazing. I don't really quite remember what match it was or where it was. But I remember the colors and I remember him. So it was that's what got me into it. So since then, I just kept watching, and I watched with my brother. We'd wrestle around in the living room. And then there was this promotion by my house. It was called Big Time Wrestling in Newark, California. And I started going to their shows since I was 13. And it was kind of, it was every 2 months, and I would go to every single one of them. And they would always have special guests, so I've met so many people there. And then I knew once I turned 18, because that was their age limit, I believe. Once I turned 18, I wanted to start training with them. And so I showed up, and the promoter actually, because I've gotten so close with him throughout the years, the promoter sat down with me and called my mom and asked her if it was okay. He said, like, so I have Bayley here with me, and she wants to start training. Does she have your permission? And she's like, well, it scares me, but she's right there in front of you, and I'm going to support her the rest of the way. And I was the only girl in the class. I started with 4 other guys, and within a month they were gone. And
wow.
So I've been the only girl for such a long time, and I think there was one other girl that came through while I was training with them, but they're really like my home just because they see me grow up, and they were so awesome to me. They still are. They have like my pictures up in the warehouse, and they have like a bunch of students now, and they kind of just tell my story. So it's really cool that I like have an impact on where I train.
Yeah. And that's so awesome to have so much support. We know that there are a lot of up-and-coming wrestlers who want to get to NXT, and I mean, everyone's been talking about Tough Enough recently. How do you think that that's going to change and affect, the talent down in Orlando at NXT?
How do I think what?
Do you think that, with this next season of Tough Enough coming up, they're going to, potentially give contracts to certain wrestlers on the show? Do you think that, they're going to have any effect on how you guys are doing down at NXT, or what you guys are doing?
I don't really think it'll have an effect on us. So from what I understand, it'll just kind of be completely separate. Mm-hmm. It'll be kind of cool and interesting to see, if we get to meet any of the people, or if, like, I was throwing this out to everybody. I was like, I'd love to be a special guest trainer, kind of just show up on the show, just, like, even uninvited would be so fun.
That would be awesome.
I know, like, a lot of the people, at least from, like, some of the people I know from back home and stuff, that even are trying to get on the show, like, it's cool to hear that people's goals nowadays are to get to NXT. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, we all want Raw, we all want WrestleMania and everything, but to even think of that as, like, the first step, like, yeah, I just need to get to NXT, and then, like, I don't know, it's really cool, and they see Tough Enough as a way to get there, so I know a lot of people there, whoever gets on the show or whatever, it's like, they see NXT, and it's just something that you can't really deny. It's something so special. Everybody wants to be a part of it, and if that's the way they need to get here, it just makes the show much more interesting, to me at least.
Yeah.
I would agree with that 100%. There's a lot of attention on the NXT women's division, and people think that there's a little bit of a stark difference between the NXT roster and the main roster. How do you and the rest of the women's division feel about the perception of the Divas on the main roster as opposed to you guys down in Florida?
And we kind of, like, of course, like, that's where we all strive to be. So we're all doing the best that we can down here, just so once we get up there. And honestly, like, for us, we all want to work together. Like, all of NXT, we all honestly, like, work together so we can make the best product possible. And it just so happens that all of us women kind of ended up here at the same time, and we all care about it so much. I think that's what makes it so special. It doesn't mean that they don't up there, because, like, those girls are awesome. Every time I've been up there, they're so nice, and I know they're working just as hard. It's just kind of like the opportunities type thing. You kind of just need any single little opportunity. I feel like we're so hungry, and we can, like, taste it. Like, it's everything we want is right there. We just have to push forward, and, like, that's what, I don't know. It's really hard to explain for me, because it's just like a feeling, But I know it's going to transition up into the main roster, like, someday, and I think, I don't know, once we all start getting up there, I believe that with everything that's going on now, we have, like, the Bellas are doing awesome, Paige, Emma, everybody together, I feel like can just be, like, the Attitude Era will be amazing. I don't know, but it's really hard for me to get into it, because then I get all, like, emotional and passionate about it. I just can't explain it.
You can tell your passion, though.
Yeah.
I like that passion. I like to hear that kind of passion. So guess what? I'm going to ask you another passionate question. Say you did.
Great.
Say you
Don't
did.
make me cry.
That will be the headline for this interview. Robo makes Bayley cry. Say you debut on Monday, on the main roster on Raw. From that day forward, what do you want your legacy in the WWE to be?
If I were to start on Monday, I think I've already started it, and I know this started since I was a kid, since I started training. The thing I want out of it, I do want women's wrestling to be looked at a whole other way. I want us to be able to main event pay-per-views. I want us to I want people to buy tickets to come see us. I want them to buy a ticket and say, I want to see Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, everybody. I want them to buy tickets to see us. But like the main thing, and I think all of us here, all of us divas here, is we kind of just want the girls in the crowd, kids, anybody to feel motivated or inspired to do whatever they want to do. It doesn't have to be wrestling. It could be anything that they want to do, because all of us come from a different background. We have fitness models, we have cheerleaders, we have gymnasts, and everybody has so many talents. And I know all of our fans are very knowledgeable of everybody's background, so they just I don't know, I feel like they get inspired by people's stories, and then they see where we are, where we're going to end up, and it just kind of makes them feel, because I know, like, when I was a kid in the crowd, I just had this feeling of, like, the atmosphere, and then watching people be these characters, and I don't know, it just makes you feel something like, I need to go do something with my life, and I feel like that's what we all want to do, and that's what I want to carry on, is make somebody feel the way I felt when I was a kid watching wrestling.
Yeah. And I mean, awesome. You guys have accomplished so much in the women's division down at NXT. We know you're in Philly right now. On our show last night, you guys revealed that you're competing in a tag team match next week at TakeOver with Emma and Dana Brooke, you and Charlotte. So what made you personally want to team up with Charlotte for this match?
I mean, Charlotte is amazing. She's like, who wouldn't want to team up with Charlotte? I've been in so many battles with her, so I know what it's like to be against her, because I've failed so many times. One day I will beat her. But I know what a great competitor she is. But who else would I want to team up with? I don't know. She's with Flair. She has this legacy to uphold, so I know that she's going to want to win just as bad as I do. And she has, she's got her eye on Dana Brooke, so if she can take care of her, I could get my hands on Emma. We've teamed before in the past, and it seems to work out fine. We have like a really good chemistry together. No matter if we're against each other in the ring or if we're teaming up together, we just have a really good bond, I feel like. So there was no question who I wanted for a partner.
Definitely. Well, we are really excited to see that match at TakeOver, and we're really looking forward to hearing how everything goes on the road with Philly. We're excited to see, or, you know, you guys
follow your career and hope that you reach the heights that you can, because we 100% believe that you can and will.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. We don't want to take up too much of your time because we know you're on the road right now.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, but it really... That was awesome.
Yeah,
she's so humble and great, and
all of this was 100% from her heart, and you could pick up on that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like
when she was talking about passion, she doesn't even need to talk about that because it's so apparent.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is one of the hardest working women down in Florida, and I can't wait for her WrestleMania entrance to be like just huge, like they like bring in like a ship that's just got those like all over. But if you remember, I said earlier in the year that I predict before the end of the year a women's match is going to main event an NXT Takeover preview, and I won event, and I totally still believe that that's going to happen.
I would love that.
I would too,
wholeheartedly.
I think everything that she wants to achieve, she's actually currently achieving, and we are very lucky to witness that ourselves.
Definitely. So any last thoughts before we wrap up, guys?
Let's go get a drink!
I have one very important question.
Yes.
When is Finn calling it? Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Our producer's saying us right now.
Yeah.
But
I'm a fan of Stone Cold myself.
Stone Cold fan in the booth.
Thank you guys for following along on chat roll. If you watched us live, please let us know your thoughts on the interview and the rest of this episode in the
I was
comments.
in chat roll the whole time,
Yes.
and there were a lot of people who were trying to ask questions, and we didn't have enough time.
I know.
That's the problem with having people on the phone, is unfortunately we couldn't get everybody's questions. Thank you for
There
sending
were a
your
couple questions that we asked that were tweeted into us earlier this
Yes,
week.
some of them were tweeted in. Some, like, there's one in the chat that we just happened to have on our sheet here. We had a sheet full of questions, and we only got to about half of them.
Look at us, we're journalists.
But a bunch of these were from fans. So thank you guys for...
thank you, everybody.
For being a part of that. And we're going to have some more interviews coming up. So stay tuned. Next week, we will, I hope, announce our next interview.
I hope we can.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. In the meantime, please tweet us until next week. NXT TakeOver Unstoppable.
Tweet us your predictions.
Where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter at SoapboxMark and at The Gimmick Pod, where we will be very shortly recording an episode with Kathy Kelly.
What?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Not you. You won't be there.
Oh.
And
watch this Tough Enough video. Soapbox Mark TV.
Yeah, Brandon, who's in the Tough Enough video, will be a part of the Gimmick Pod.
Exactly.
That's a weird irony. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, he's got to leave.
Follow me on Twitter at TrueHomo, ProWrestlingTees.com/homo.
Oh, we got our chips.
Maple Bacon Chips.
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelly, on Instagram at Kathy Kelly. Thank you so much, and shout out to the Clement W for sending these maple bacon chips all the way from Canada.
Thanks,
So gonna eat these on air. Try them out. But you can follow all of us on Twitter and Instagram at AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys for watching this
Learn how to
episode.
wrestle. 818-381-2563.
Oh my gosh, shameless plugs. See you next week.
No. I'm gonna wait till the.
Wow,
jeez.
You're so good. Nah.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.